So I thought I'd make a couple notes about the asphalt press fiber siding that looks like brick. So I was talking with a friend and he pointed something out to me. So when they first put it on, it was probably in good shape, and then over the years he said his father used to go out and redo some of the joints. So when I was looking at it, you can see that was done. And the issue was, if you don't do that, if you didn't do that, water would get in there and then it would just crumble. So it was an ongoing maintenance thing. I don't know how many years it would last before you had to start doing that. So what it is, it's a fiber board. This is the back of one, and it's coated with tar. And then the front is designed like bricks, and it's basically chipped stone in here. And it is they're tongue and grooved. They're made to tongue and groove together, so they kind of interlock. Now so what happened with many houses, they had wood siding on, and in this case it's Dutch lap siding. Probably a pine, probably a yellow pine is what it looks like to me. Quite hard. And then they decided they didn't want to paint, so this came along, and people put it over top of the wood to get around painting. Then vinyl siding. So this house was built around 1900. This part was added on. This part would be original because this is where the house, well, maybe not, because this was a porch here. You can see all the issues I have to fix there. But back to the siding. So then they put this on, and then along comes vinyl siding or aluminum siding, and then they would put that right over top. So they would have the wood, then this material, and then the vinyl or aluminum over top of that. Probably a vinyl in most cases. I think the aluminum came along around the time of this, so people who went with this kind of skipped the aluminum. And then in some cases, like our bungalow, they went from the wood siding to aluminum, which I'm glad they did that there, so I'm going to leave that the way it is. Because I like the wood, I like the aluminum, and it painted up nice. This I do not like, and I don't like covering things up like this. So a lot of people would say just go over top of it, but that's not me. So in this case, it's all coming off. Now in this case, this was an add-on, so it must have been added on about the time that they were doing this. So there was no other siding on here, but still I'm taking it off. And for right now, I might just caulk this like I did on the other side. It's not a big area, it's all covered. Caulk it and paint, prime and paint, and that'll be fine. I could do some other cool things like aluminum or something like that, but I think for now, prime and paint. So that's my notes on this siding. I had not realized that they had to routinely, maybe yearly, bi-yearly, check the joints. But that makes sense because the parts that were in the sun a lot, like up in there, it's much more fragile, and you can see what's happening there. You see how it's just wafering right off. The outside part, the stone is just coming right off here, kind of like it did right here. So once this happens, this is like a sponge. This stuff becomes a sponge. It's kind of hard at first, but once water, moisture gets to it, that's it. It becomes a sponge, and then what the problem is, it's holding water in. And that's what I noticed up above, and that's probably what was going on here. You can see this bottom board doesn't look as healthy as these other. It's fine in this case, but it doesn't look as great. And that's what I noticed up there on the windows too, is where it became, or right along the bottom there, it was moisture was being held in. So it's good to get this off. The other thing we noticed was once you take this off, give the wood time to dry, because that's been holding a certain level of moisture in. And if you don't give it time, your primer and paint does not stay on as well. That's the one thing we have noticed. So once you take this off, give your house time to equilibrate. Depending on how dry it is, if you have some dry weather, it will not take as long. If you don't have some dry weather, then it's going to take much longer. Yes, it does not look great while you're doing that. You can scrape it, but refrain from priming it, because we primed, within a couple days after removing this, and that ended up coming off. So, okay, so that's a few words of the asphalt brick look siding.